The warning signal came at 0800 hours, Galactic Standard Time. Zext heard it first through his communication array. His forearms moved quickly across the control panel. The insect-like alien had worked at monitoring station Kepler-7 for 15 years. He had never heard an alert like this one. Alert. A human warship has entered the sector. The message repeated 3 times. Then silence. Zexth's antenna twitched. His compound eyes reflected the red warning lights that now flashed across his console. He pressed the emergency button with one of his lower arms. The station's alarm began to wail. Within minutes, the control room filled with aliens from different species. Commander Vexra, a tall blue-skinned Velinari, floated into the room. Her flowing robes moved like water in a low gravity. Behind her came Captain Thok, a massive Zorkan warrior. His gray skin looked like stone, and his red eyes glowed with concern. "What is the emergency?" Commander Vexra asked. Her voice was soft, almost musical. Zext played the message again. "Alert! A human warship has entered the sector." The room went silent. Every alien stopped moving. Even the floating Velinari seemed to freeze in the air. Captain Thok was the first to speak. "Are you certain this message is real?" "Yes, sir," Zext H replied. His voice shook slightly. "The signal came from our outer sensors. Grid reference 847 Alpha, near the Vega trade routes." Commander Vexra's pale face became even whiter. "How long ago?" 17 minutes, sir." Thok's massive fist hit the metal table. The sound echoed through the room. 17 minutes. They could be anywhere by now. Far away, in the cold emptiness of space, Captain Kyle Martinez sat in his command chair. He did not know that his ship had just caused panic across 3 star systems. The U's Defiant moved slowly through the asteroid field. Its sensors swept the area, looking for any sign of trouble. Kyle was 35 years old. He had short brown hair and kind eyes. Before joining the military, he had been a merchant sailor. He knew space routes better than most captains. That was why they had given him this mission. "Any sign of the pirates, Amy?" he asked his tactical officer, Lieutenant. Amy Foster looked up from her console. She was 28, with red hair tied back in a tight bun. "Nothing yet, Captain. But these asteroids make good hiding spots. They could be anywhere." Kyle nodded. Pirates had been attacking trade ships near Vega for 3 weeks. The Earth Defense Force had sent the Defiant to investigate. It should have been a simple patrol mission. "Keep scanning," Kyle said. "Danny, how are our engines?" Chief Engineer Danny Brooks answered from the engineering station. He was a big man with oil-stained coveralls. "Running smooth, Captain. We can go to full speed anytime you need." Kyle smiled. He liked his crew. They were good people. Most of them were young, but they worked hard. The Defiant was not the biggest ship in the fleet, but it was fast and well-armed. Back at monitoring station Kepler-7, the emergency meeting continued. Representatives from 12 different species had gathered in the main conference room. The air was thick with tension. "We must evacuate the sector immediately," said Ambassador Kiktal, a small green-skinned Rigelian. "The humans are too dangerous to face directly." "Evacuation is not possible," replied General Mokhtar, another Zorkan. "We have 17 colonies in this sector, millions of lives." Commander Vexra floated near the large view screen. It showed a map of the local star systems. A red dot marked the human ship's position. "Perhaps we should try to communicate with them," she suggested. The room erupted in shocked voices. Several aliens began speaking at once. "Communicate?" Captain Thok's voice boomed over the others. "Have you forgotten the Terran incident? What happened at Wolf 359? The room fell silent again. Every alien in the room knew the story. 5 years ago, A single human cruiser had destroyed an entire Zorkan battle fleet. The humans had used tactics that no one understood. They had fought with a violence that scared even the warrior races. That was different, Commander Vex-Ra said quietly. The humans were defending their colony. Maybe they are not here to attack. Then why are they here? Asked Ambassador Kiktal. This sector has no human colonies. No human trade routes. There is only one reason for a human warship to be here. General Mokhtar stood up. His massive frame cast a shadow across the table. They are scouting for an invasion, testing our defenses. We should strike first, before they can call for reinforcements. That would be suicide, whispered Dr. Nelva, an elderly Velinari scientist. Human ships are too advanced, their weapons too powerful. And their crews ... double quotes, she shuddered. They fight like demons. On the Defiant, Kyle was reading reports from other patrols. Nothing unusual. No sign of the pirates they were hunting. The ship moved deeper into the asteroid field. Captain, called Lieutenant Foster, I'm picking up some strange energy readings. Kyle looked up from his tablet. What kind of energy? Multiple sources. Different types, it looks like. Ship engines. Lots of them, Kyle frowned. Pirates don't usually travel in large groups. Show me. The main screen lit up with a tactical display. Red dots appeared across the map. They were scattered through several star systems, but there were many of them. That's not pirates, said Danny Brooks. That's a fleet, a big one. Kyle studied the display. The energy signatures were moving in coordinated patterns. Some were heading away from the sector. Others were taking defensive positions. It looks like someone is preparing for war, Amy said. Kyle felt a chill run down his spine. War with who? At monitoring station Kepler 7, the debate continued. Some aliens wanted to flee. Others wanted to fight. A few still hoped for peaceful contact. We need to make a decision, Commander Vex-Ra said. The human ship is still moving through the sector. If we are going to act, we must act now. Captain Thok activated his personal communicator. I am calling in the Third Fleet. They can be here in 6 hours. Wait, said Dr. Nelva. What if we are wrong? What if the humans are not here to attack? Thok's red eyes burned with anger. Then we will find out when they start shooting. But I will not let them catch us unprepared. Not again. The meeting broke up into smaller groups. Each species began making their own plans. Some would evacuate. Others would fight. None would try to communicate. Kyle Martinez sat in his command chair, unaware that his simple patrol mission had just changed the fate of the galaxy. The Defiant continued its search for pirates, while across the sector, alien fleets prepared for war. The reputation of humanity had preceded them. Stories of their battles had become legends. Tales of their tactics had become nightmares. And now, for the first time in 5 years, a human warship had entered alien space. The galaxy held its breath and waited to see what would happen next. Lieutenant Amy Foster stared at her tactical display. The energy readings were getting stronger. More ships were moving through the nearby systems. She had never seen anything like it. Captain, she called out, the fleet movements are increasing. I count at least 40 ships now. Kyle Martinez moved to stand behind her station. He looked at the screen with growing concern. What kind of ships? Mixed types. Some look like warships. Others might be transports. They're spread across 4 different star systems. Kyle rubbed his chin. In his years as a merchant sailor, he had seen military exercises before, but this was different. This looked like a real mobilization. Any communication between the ships? He asked. Amy shook her head. They're using encrypted channels. I can't break the codes. Chief Engineer Danny Brooks looked up from his console. Captain, Maybe we should report this to command. If there's going to be a war out here, they need to know. Kyle nodded. Send a message to Earth Defense Force. Tell them we're seeing large-scale military movements. Unknown intentions. Yes, sir, Amy replied. What Kyle did not know was that the military movements were because of his ship. Across the sector, alien commanders were making desperate plans. On the Krytash hive ship Eternal Swarm, Queen Admiral Sectra faced a difficult choice. Her ship held 30,000 of her people. They were workers, engineers, and scientists. Not warriors. My queen, said her aide, a smaller Krytash named Velk. The human ship is only 3 systems away. Should we evacuate? Sectra's insect-like head turned toward the star charts. Her species had survived for millions of years by being careful. They avoided fights whenever possible. But running from humans might be seen as weakness. How long to reach the outer rim? She asked. 18 hours at maximum speed, Velk replied. And if we stay? If we fight? Velk's antenna drooped. The humans destroyed 23 Zorkin warships at Wolf 359. Our ship has only defensive weapons. Sectra made her decision. Begin evacuation procedures. But do it quietly. We do not want to seem like we are running in panic. The hive ship slowly changed course. Its massive engines began to glow brighter. Soon, it was moving away from the sector. On the Velinari homeworld, Whisper of Distant Stars floated in the meditation chamber. As one of the most powerful telepaths of her species, she could sense emotions across space. Right now, she felt fear from every direction, but there was something else. From the human ship, she sensed something different. Not the cold hatred she expected, not the burning desire for conquest. Instead, she felt ... confusion. This is strange, she whispered to her aide. The human minds are not what I expected. What? Do you sense, Whisper? Asked her aide. They are confused. Concerned, but not aggressive. It is as if they do not know why everyone is afraid of them. This puzzled Whisper of Distant Stars. Every story about humans spoke of their terrible anger in battle, their willingness to die for victory, their cruel tactics. But the minds she touched felt nothing like that. Perhaps, she said slowly, we should try to communicate with them. Her aide was shocked. Is that wise? The Council of Whispers has forbidden contact with humans. The Council of Whispers has never actually met a human, Whisper replied. All our knowledge comes from stories. Maybe the stories are wrong. On the Defiant, Kyle was reading reports from his officers. The ship had completed its scan of the asteroid field. No pirates, no sign of the missing cargo ships. Just empty space and floating rocks. Captain, called Lieutenant Jake Thompson, his first officer. I think we should move to the next system. The pirates might have moved on. Kyle nodded. Jake was 29 years old and very smart. He had graduated at the top of his class from the Space Academy. Kyle trusted his judgment. Set course for the Rigel system, Kyle ordered. Maybe we'll have better luck there. The Defiant's engines hummed as the ship changed direction. It moved away from the asteroids and toward the next star system. None of the crew knew that their movement had been detected by dozens of alien. Sensors in the Zorkin Command Center. General Mokhtar watched the human ship on his tactical display. His red eyes burned with memory. He had been at Wolf 359. He had seen his fleet destroyed by a single human cruiser. The human ship is moving, reported his intelligence officer. New course, Rigel system. Rigel, Mokhtar repeated. That system has 3 inhabited planets. 2 million Zorkin citizens. His aide, a younger Zorkin named Driktal, looked confused. Surely they would not attack civilians, sir. Mokhtar's laugh was bitter. You did not see what I saw at Wolf 359. The humans do not fight like us. They do not follow the rules of war. They use every weapon, every tactic, every advantage they can find. The general stood up from his command chair. His massive frame cast a shadow across the room. Send word to the Third Fleet. Tell them to move to intercept the human ship before it reaches Rigel. Sir, Drakethal said carefully, the Third Fleet has only 12 ships. If the humans are as dangerous as you say, then 12 ships will die, Mokhtar replied. But maybe they will slow the humans down long enough for civilians to evacuate. On the Defiant, Dr. Rachel Kim was in her laboratory. She was the ship's xenobiologist, an expert on alien life forms. She was also very curious about the fleet movements they had detected. Rachel was 32 years old, with black hair and intelligent eyes. She had joined the military to study alien cultures. So far, she had only seen them from a distance. Computer, she said, show me all known information about military units in this sector. The computer's voice was calm and electronic. Accessing database. Please wait. Data filled her screen. The local alien species included the Krytosh, the Velinari, and the Zorkin Empire. Each had their own military forces and defense fleets. Interesting, Rachel said to herself. According to this data, none of these species should have large fleets in this area. So why are we detecting so many ships? She continued reading. The database had information about past conflicts in the sector. Most were small disputes over trade routes or mining rights. Nothing that would require major military action. Then she found something that made her pause. A file labeled Wolf 359 Incident. Classification restricted. Computer, show me details about the Wolf 359 incident. Access denied. Insufficient security clearance. Rachel frowned. She had high-level clearance for her research. What could be so secret about this incident? She tried a different approach. Computer, show me any references to human military actions in alien space. This time, the computer provided some information. Rachel's eyes widened as she read. According to the files, 5 years ago, a human cruiser called the UES Ranger had engaged a Zorkin battle fleet at Wolf 359. The Ranger had been heavily damaged, but had somehow disabled the entire enemy fleet. The details were classified, but the result was clear. 23 Zorkin ships destroyed or captured. That's impossible, Rachel whispered. 1 ship against 23? She kept reading. The incident had apparently ended all major conflicts between humans and aliens. Since then, no alien force had directly challenged human ships. They avoided human space entirely. Maybe, Rachel said slowly, the aliens are afraid of us. This was a new idea. In all her studies, she had never considered that aliens might fear humans. She had always assumed that more advanced species would see humans as primitive and weak. But if the aliens were afraid, it would explain the fleet movements. It would explain why so many ships were suddenly active in the sector. Rachel activated her communicator. Captain Martinez, this is Dr. Kim. I think you should come to my lab. I may have found something important. Kyle received the message while he was reviewing navigation charts. On my way, he replied as he walked through the ship's corridors. Kyle thought about the strange day. First, the massive fleet movements. Then, the empty asteroid field with no sign of pirates. Now, Dr. Kim had found something she thought was important. He had a feeling that this simple patrol mission was about to become much more complicated in space around them. Alien fleets continued to move. Some were running away. Others were preparing to fight. All of them were focused on the small human ship that had wandered into their sector. The Defiant continued on its course, unaware that it had become the center of attention for millions of aliens across dozens of star systems. Kyle Martinez entered Dr. Kim's laboratory to find her staring at multiple screens filled with data. Her dark hair was messy, and she had the excited look of someone who had just made an important discovery. "Captain," she said without looking. I think I know why we're seeing all these fleet movements." Kyle moved to stand beside her desk. "What did you find?" Rachel turned one of her screens toward him. "Tell me, what do you know about the Wolf 359 incident?" Kyle frowned. "Wolf 359? That's a restricted file. I know there was some kind of battle there 5 years ago. The U.S. Ranger was involved. Why?" "Because," Rachel said, her voice excited, "I think that battle made us famous. Or maybe infamous is a better word." She pulled up a star chart showing the local sector. Red dots marked the positions of alien fleets. "Look at this pattern. Every single fleet movement is either running away from us or moving to intercept us. They're not preparing for some other war, Captain. They're preparing for us." Kyle stared at the screen. "That's impossible. We're just one ship on a patrol mission." "Not to them," Rachel replied. "To them, we're the species that destroyed 23 Zorkan warships with a single cruiser. We're the humans who fight without following the rules of war." Before Kyle could respond, his communicator crackled. It was Danny Brooks from engineering. "Captain, you need to come to the communication center. I've been working on those encrypted alien messages. I think I've broken some of the codes." Kyle and Rachel hurried to the communication center. Danny was standing over a computer terminal, his big hands moving quickly across the controls. "What have you found?" Kyle asked. Danny looked up with a grim expression. "Sir, I think we're in trouble. Listen to this." He played an audio file. An electronic voice spoke in translated Zorkan. "Third Fleet, this is command. Human warship confirmed in Sector 847. Intercept and engage. Do not let them reach Rigel colonies." Kyle felt his blood run cold. "They think we're going to attack civilians?" Danny nodded. "That's not all. Listen to this Crytash transmission." Another voice played. "Hive ship Eternal Swarm. Begin emergency. Evacuation. Human warship approaching. Estimated arrival, 14 hours. And this Velinari message," Danny continued, playing a third file. "All meditation ships withdraw to safe distance. Human vessel detected. Recommend immediate telepathic shielding." Kyle sat down heavily in a nearby chair. "They're all running. From us, or preparing to fight us." "But why?" Rachel activated her tablet and showed him the data she had found. "Because of our reputation, Captain. Somehow, we've become the galaxy's boogeyman." She explained what she had learned about the Wolf 359 incident. How one damaged human ship had defeated an entire alien fleet. How the aliens had interpreted human tactics as ruthless and unpredictable. "But that's just one battle," Kyle protested. "One ship. Why would they assume all humans are like that?" "Because," Rachel said, "they don't understand us. They see our technology advancing faster than theirs. They see our willingness to fight when cornered. And they create stories to explain what they don't understand." Lieutenant Amy Foster's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's strange." Kyle hurried back to the bridge. Amy was staring at her communication console with confusion. "What kind of transmission?" Kyle asked. "It's from a Velinari ship," Amy replied. "But it's not like their usual communications. It's in my head." Kyle raised an eyebrow. "In your head?" "I can hear a voice. Female. She's speaking English, but I can feel her emotions too. She seems ... Kores." Rachel joined them on the bridge. "The Velinari are telepathic. She must be trying to make mental contact." "Put it on speaker." Kyle ordered. Amy adjusted her controls. Suddenly, a soft voice filled the bridge. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. Human vessel, this is whisper of distant stars of the Velinary meditation ship Harmony of Spheres. Please do not be alarmed. I mean, no harm. Kyle looked at his crew. No one seemed to know what to do. Finally, he stepped forward. This is Captain Kyle Martinez of the U.S. Defiant. We receive your message. We also mean no harm. There was a pause. Then the voice continued, but now it sounded surprised. You are confused. I can sense your emotions. You do not understand why everyone fears you. No, Kyle said honestly. We don't understand. We're just on a patrol mission. We're looking for pirates. Another pause. When the voice came again, it was filled with wonder. You truly do not know the stories we tell about your species. The terrible battles, the ruthless tactics. You are not aware of your reputation. Kyle looked at Rachel. She nodded encouragingly. What? Stories? Kyle asked. What reputation? The voice was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, whisper of distant stars began to explain. 5 years ago, at Wolf 359, a human ship called the Ranger fought against a Zorkin fleet. The humans were outnumbered 23-1. Their ship was damaged. They should have surrendered. The bridge crew listened in silence. But the humans did not surrender. Instead, they used a tactic that no one had ever seen before. They overloaded their ship's reactor and created a pulse of energy that disabled every Zorkin ship in the fleet. Kyle's eyes widened. They created an EMP blast? The Zorkin ships were not destroyed, the voice continued. But they were helpless. The humans could have killed everyone. Instead, they demanded the release of human prisoners and safe passage for human colonies. That sounds like a desperate last stand, Kyle said. Not a planned attack. Yes, the voice agreed. But the Zorkin Empire did not see it that way. They told other species that humans were willing to destroy their own ship to win a battle. They said humans fight without fear of death. Danny Brooks shook his head. So they think we're all crazy. Not crazy, the voice corrected. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Most species in the galaxy fight for territory or resources. But humans seem to fight for ideas, for principles. This is frightening to us. Kyle began to understand. So when our ship entered this sector, everyone assumed we were here to fight. Yes, and your human technology advances so quickly. Your ships become more powerful every year. We do not know what you are capable of now. Rachel stepped forward. What if we could prove that we're not here to fight? That we're just looking for pirates? The voice was quiet for a moment. You would do this? You would reveal your true intentions? We never intended to hide them, Kyle said. We're here to protect trade routes, to stop pirates from attacking merchant ships. That's all. There was another long pause. When the voice came again, it was filled with emotion. I must tell you something. There are Zorkin warships moving to intercept you. They believe you are going to attack the Rigel colonies. They plan to fight you before you can reach the civilian population. Kyle felt a chill. How many ships? 12. They will reach you in 4 hours. Amy Foster looked up from her console. Captain, I'm detecting the ships now. They're moving fast. Combat formation. Kyle looked around his bridge. His crew was good, but they were not expecting a fight. The Defiant was a patrol ship, not a battleship. Can we outrun them? He asked. Maybe, Amy replied. But they'll catch us before we can reach the jump point. Kyle made a decision. Open. A channel to the Zorkin fleet. All frequencies. Channel open, Amy reported. Zorkin vessels. This is Captain Kyle Martinez of the U.S. Defiant. I know you can hear me. I want to talk. There was no response. I know you think we're here to attack your colonies, but you're wrong. We're hunting pirates. We have no interest in your worlds. Still no response. Rachel touched Kyle's arm. Captain, maybe they don't believe us. Maybe they think it's a trick. Kyle nodded. Whisper of distant stars, are you still there? Yes, Captain Martinez. Can you communicate with the Zorkin fleet? Can you tell them what we've discussed? I can try. But the Zorkin are not telepathic, and they do not trust my species. Kyle looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for orders. In 4 hours, they would face 12 alien warships, ships that believed they were dangerous enemies. Do what you can, Kyle said, and thank you for the warning. Captain Martinez, the voice said softly, I believe you are telling the truth, but I do not know if anyone else will. The communication ended. Kyle was left staring at the view screen, knowing that his ship was about to become the center of the galaxy's biggest misunderstanding. Kyle Martinez stood on the bridge of the Defiant, watching the tactical display. 12 red dots were moving toward his ship. The Zorkin fleet would reach them in less than 3 hours. Options? He asked his first officer, Lieutenant Jake Thompson. Looked grim. We can run, but they'll catch us. We can fight, but we're outnumbered 12-1. Or we can try to talk to them. We already tried talking, Kyle replied. They're not listening. Amy Foster looked up from her console. Captain, I'm getting strange readings from the Velinari ship. It's moving toward us. Kyle frowned. Intercept course? No, sir. It's moving slowly. Almost like it's trying not to scare us. The ship's communication system crackled to life. Whisper of distant star's voice filled the bridge. Captain Martinez, I have spoken with the Zorkin fleet commander. His name is General Mokhtar. He was at Wolf 359. He saw his fleet destroyed by your people. Kyle closed his eyes. Of course, the Zorkin commander had personal experience with human tactics. What did he say? Kyle asked. He does not believe you are here peacefully. He thinks you are scouting for an invasion. He will not listen to words. Then what do you suggest? There was a pause. I would like to meet with you, face to face. Perhaps. Together we can find a solution. Kyle looked at his crew. They all seemed uncertain. Meeting with aliens was not part of their training. Where? Kyle asked. There is a small asteroid between our positions. We could both send shuttles there. Neutral ground. Jake Thompson shook his head. Captain, it could be a trap. What would be the point? Kyle asked. If they wanted to attack us, they have enough ships to do it. Rachel Kim stepped forward. Captain, I think we should meet with her. She's our best chance of avoiding a fight. Kyle made his decision. Prepare Shuttle Bay 1. I'm going over there. Sir, Jake protested, you can't leave the ship. Not with a Zorkin fleet approaching. You're right, Kyle said. You're in command while I'm gone. If the Zorkin attack, do whatever you have to do to protect the ship. Kyle chose his away team. Carefully. He took Dr. Kim because she understood alien cultures. He also took Sergeant Lisa Chun, the ship's senior Marine. Lisa was 26 years old, calm under pressure, and skilled in combat. The shuttle trip to the asteroid took 30 minutes. Kyle used the time to think about what he would say to the Velinari. How do you convince someone that you're not the monster they think you are? The asteroid was small, barely large enough for 2 shuttles to land. The Velinari ship had constructed a temporary habitat dome on the surface. Kyle could see another shuttle already waiting there. Atmosphere is breathable, Lisa reported, as they landed. The dome is maintaining pressure. Kyle, Rachel, and Lisa put on light environmental suits and left their shuttle. The Velinari shuttle was unlike anything Kyle had ever seen. It was smooth and curved, almost like a work of art. Inside the dome, they found Whisper of Distant Stars waiting for them. She was tall and slender, with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. Her long hair seemed to float around her head, as if she was underwater. "Captain Martinez," she said, her voice soft and musical. "Thank you for coming." "Thank you for arranging this meeting," Kyle replied. "I hope we can find a way to avoid bloodshed." Whisper of Distant Stars gestured to chairs that had been arranged in a circle. "Please sit. We have much to discuss." As they sat down, Kyle noticed that the Velinary kept staring at him. Her expression was one of curiosity mixed with confusion. "You are not what I expected," she said finally. "What did you expect?" Kyle asked. "Someone harder, colder, more warlike. The stories about your species speak of warriors who know no fear. But I sense fear in you now. Fear for your crew. Fear of making the wrong choice." Kyle nodded. "I am afraid. I don't want anyone to die because of a misunderstanding. Yet you came here anyway. That shows courage." Rachel leaned forward. "Can you tell us more about these stories? About how other species see humans?" Whisper of Distant Stars closed her eyes for a moment. "The Zorkin tell of human ships that fight until they are destroyed. They say humans prefer death to surrender. The Krytash speak of human technology that advances faster than any species they have known. They fear you will become too powerful to stop." "And the Velinari?" Kyle asked. "We are telepathic. We can sense emotions across space. Human emotions are intense, passionate. Most species think carefully before acting, but humans seem to act on feeling. This is frightening to us." Lisa Chun spoke for the first time. "So you see us as dangerous because we're emotional?" "Not dangerous," Whisper of Distant Stars corrected. "Unpredictable. Most species fight for resources or territory, but humans fight for ideas, for principles. You will die for concepts that other species do not understand." Kyle began to see the problem. "So when we show up in your space, you assume we're here to fight for some principle you don't understand." "Yes, and your reputation from Wolf 359 makes everyone believe you are unstoppable in battle." Rachel pulled out her tablet. "Can you tell us exactly what happened at Wolf 359? The real story, not the legend." Whisper of Distant Stars was quiet for a moment. "I was not there, but I have touched the minds of those who were." The human ship Ranger was escorting a convoy of civilian transports. They were carrying families to a new colony. Kyle listened carefully. The Zorkin fleet intercepted them. They demanded the humans surrender and submit to Zorkin rule. The humans refused. "Of course they did," Lisa said. "They were protecting civilians." "Yes, but the Zorkin saw this as proof of human aggression." "Why fight when you could negotiate?" "Because," Kyle said slowly, "we don't negotiate with the safety of innocent people." Whisper of Distant Stars nodded. The battle was brief. The Zorkin ships were bigger and more numerous. The Ranger was badly damaged. Its weapons were failing. Its engines were dying. "But they didn't surrender," Rachel said. "No. Instead, they did something no one expected. They overloaded their reactor and created a massive electromagnetic pulse. It disabled every Zorkin ship in the fleet." Kyle was beginning to understand. "They turned their ship into a weapon." "Yes, but they did not use it to kill. They used it to disable. Then they demanded the release of human prisoners and safe passage for their convoy." "And this scared the Zorkin?" Lisa asked. "It terrified them. They realized that humans would rather die than accept defeat, and they would risk everything to protect their civilians." Kyle stood up and walked to the edge of the dome. Through the transparent walls, he could see the stars. Somewhere out there, 12 Zorkin warships were getting closer to his ship. So they think we're all like the crew of the Ranger, he said, willing to die rather than surrender. Yes, Whisper of Distant Stars replied, and your technology keeps advancing. Every year, human ships become more powerful. The galaxy wonders what you will do when you become strong enough to conquer everyone. Rachel joined Kyle at the edge of the dome. But we don't want to conquer anyone. We just want to explore space and trade with other species. How can we prove that? Kyle asked. Whisper of Distant Stars stood and moved toward them. Her movements were graceful, almost like dancing. Perhaps, she said carefully, you could show them that humans can be trusted. How? The Zorkin fleet approaching your ship. They expect you to fight them. They expect you to use terrible weapons and cruel tactics. What if you did the opposite? Kyle turned to face her. What do you mean? What if you surrendered? Lisa Chun stood up quickly. Absolutely not. We're not surrendering to anyone. Wait, Kyle said, holding up his hand. Let her explain. Whisper of Distant Stars moved closer. Not a real surrender. A demonstration. Show them that humans can choose peace over war. Show them that you are not the monsters they fear. Kyle thought about this. And then what? They take my ship and... crew prisoner? No, I would be there. I would witness your peaceful intentions. I would testify to the Galactic Council that humans can be reasoned with. Rachel was shaking her head. It's too risky. What if they don't believe us? What if they attack anyway? Before anyone could answer, Kyle's communicator crackled. It was Jake Thompson's voice from the Defiant. Captain, we have a problem. Long-range sensors are detecting another group of ships. Pirates. A big group. They're moving toward the Rigel system. Kyle activated his communicator. How many ships? At least 20. Mixed types. They look like they're planning to attack the civilian colonies while the Zorkin fleet is busy with us. Kyle felt his blood run cold. The pirates had planned this perfectly. While the aliens were focused on the human threat, the real criminals were moving to attack defenseless civilians. ETA to Rigel? Kyle asked. 4 hours, maybe less. Kyle looked at Whisper of Distant Stars. Did you hear that? She nodded, her face pale. The Rigel colonies have 2 million civilians. They have no military defenses. And the Zorkin fleet is coming to fight us instead of protecting their own people. Kyle said grimly. Lisa Chun was already moving toward the shuttle. We need to get back to the ship. We need to warn the Zorkin about the real threat. They won't listen, Whisper of Distant Stars said. General Mokhtar believes you are the greater danger. Kyle made a decision. It would change everything. Then we'll have to show them they're wrong. What do you mean? Rachel asked. Kyle was already walking toward the shuttle. We're going to do something that no one expects. We're going to save the Rigel colonies. Captain, Lisa protested, we can't fight 20. The Defiant raced through space at maximum speed. Behind them, the 12 Zorkin warships were closing the distance. Ahead of them, 20 pirate ships were approaching the defenseless Rigel colonies. Kyle Martinez stood on his bridge, watching the tactical display. Time was running out. 2 hours until the pirates reach Rigel, Amy Foster reported. 1 hour until the Zorkin fleet intercepts us. Can we outrun them? Kyle asked. Jake Thompson shook his head. Not all of them, maybe half. But the others will catch us before we reach the pirate fleet. Kyle made a decision that surprised everyone. Reduce speed to half. Sir? Jake asked, confused. Reduce speed. I want the Zorkin to catch up with us. Amy looked shocked. Captain, they'll destroy us. Maybe, Kyle said. Or maybe they'll finally understand what we're trying to do. Dr. Rachel Kim moved to stand beside Kyle. You're gambling with all our lives. I'm gambling that General Mokhtar is smart enough to see the truth when it's right in front of him. The Defiance slowed down. Within minutes, the Zorkin fleet was close enough to attack. Kyle could see their ships on the main screen. They were large and powerful, built for war. Incoming transmission, Amy reported. Put it on screen. The face that appeared was like living stone. General Mokhtar's red eyes burned with anger and suspicion. Human vessel, you will stop and surrender. You will submit to boarding and inspection. Kyle stepped forward. General, we don't have time for this. Every minute we waste, those pirates get closer to your colonies. This is a trick, Mokhtar growled. You want us to lower our guard. Look at your sensors, Kyle said urgently. The pirate fleet is real. They're not waiting for us to finish our conversation. For a moment, Mokhtar's expression flickered. Kyle saw doubt in the alien's eyes. Even if the pirates are real, Mokhtar said, why would humans help us? What do you gain? Kyle was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that surprised everyone, including himself. We gain nothing. We might lose everything. But those are innocent people at Rigel. Children. Families. That's reason enough. General Mokhtar stared at Kyle through the screen. His stone-like face showed no emotion, but Kyle could see him thinking. You would risk your ship and crew for alien civilians? Yes. Even though we came here to destroy you? Yes. Mokhtar was silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke again. This is what we do not understand about humans. This is what frightens us. Kyle nodded. I know. But sometimes being frightening is better than being cruel. Before Mokhtar could respond, his tactical officer spoke urgently. In the background, the general turned away from the screen for a moment. When he looked back, his expression had changed. Our long-range sensors confirm your data. 20 ships approaching Rigel. Mixed configuration. Definitely pirates. Will you help us stop them? Kyle asked. Mokhtar's laugh was bitter. Your single ship and my 12 vessels against 20 pirates? It will be a difficult battle. Then we'd better get started. What happened next surprised everyone. General Mokhtar smiled. It was not a pleasant smile, but it was genuine. Very. Well, Captain Martinez, but we do this my way. My ships have heavier weapons. You will follow our lead. Agreed, Kyle said immediately. The combined human-Zorkin fleet changed course for Rigel. 13 ships moving together toward a battle that would change the galaxy. During the flight, Kyle received another transmission. This time, it was from Whisper of Distant Stars. Captain Martinez, I am following at a safe distance. What you are doing is unprecedented. How so? In 5,000 years of galactic history, no species has ever fought to protect another species. Civilians without being asked. This will be remembered. Kyle hoped it would be remembered as a victory. The pirate fleet was already attacking when they arrived at Rigel. The aliens had no military defenses, only civilian space stations and cargo. Ships. The pirates were destroying everything they couldn't steal. 21 pirate vessels confirmed, Amy reported. Mixed types. Some are armed merchant ships. Others look like converted military surplus. General Mokhtar's voice came over the communication. Channel. Human vessel. Stay behind our formation. Let our heavy cruisers engage first. Kyle watched as the Zorkin ships moved into attack position. Their weapons were indeed impressive. Bright energy beams lanced out across space, striking pirate ships and disabling them quickly. But the pirates fought back, and they outnumbered the Allied fleet. Captain, Jake Thompson called out, 3 pirate ships are breaking away from the main battle. They're heading for the civilian evacuation transports. Kyle saw the threat immediately. The Zorkin ships were busy fighting the main pirate force. The civilian transports were defenseless. Amy, lock weapons on those 3 ships. Sir, General Mokhtar told us to stay in formation. The general is busy. Those civilians need help now. The Defiant broke away from the Zorkin formation and raced toward the fleeing transports. The 3 pirate ships saw them coming and turned to fight. What followed was not the kind of battle that legends are made of. It was messy, desperate, and frightening. The Defiant was faster than the pirate ships, but they had heavier weapons. Hull breach on Deck 7, Danny Brooks reported from engineering. We're losing atmosphere. Weapons down to 60%. Amy added. Kyle made another desperate decision. Danny, can you overload our reactor? Captain? Danny looked shocked. Not to destroy it, just to create an electromagnetic pulse, like the Ranger did at Wolf 359. Danny's eyes widened with understanding. It'll knock out our own systems too, but it'll disable the pirates. Do it. 30 seconds, Danny replied. Kyle activated the ship's communication system. All hands, prepare for EMP burst. Secure all electronics. The Defiant's reactor overloaded in a controlled burst. Electromagnetic energy swept out in all directions. The 3 pirate ships went dark immediately. But so did the Defiant. For 5 minutes, Kyle's ship drifted powerless in space. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows on the bridge. The crew worked frantically to restart their systems. Power coming back online, Danny reported finally. The main screen flickered to life. The pirate ships were still floating helplessly. Their crews were using emergency thrusters to move toward escape pods. Captain, Amy said with wonder in her voice, we did it. The transports are safe. Kyle looked at the tactical display. The main battle was also ending. The Zorkin fleet had defeated the remaining pirates. Space around Rigel was filled with disabled pirate ships and floating debris. Incoming transmission from General Mokhtar, Amy reported. The Zorkin commander appeared on screen. His stone-like face showed something Kyle had never expected to see. Respect. Captain Martinez, I watched what you did. You risked your ship to save civilian transports, just like the stories say. We did what anyone would do, Kyle replied. No, Mokhtar said firmly. You did what humans do. And now I understand why the galaxy fears you. Because we're unpredictable. Because you make the rest of us ashamed of our caution. Over the next few hours, the combined fleet helped with rescue operations. Human and Zorkin crews worked together to save survivors and secure the disabled pirate ships. Kyle found himself working alongside General Mokhtar on one of the damaged space stations. The big alien moved carefully through the wreckage, helping to free trapped civilians. General, Kyle said as they worked, can I ask you something? Speak. At Wolf 359, after the Ranger disabled your fleet, what did you think of humans? Mokhtar was quiet for a moment. I thought you were monsters. Beings who would rather die than accept reasonable terms. And now? The general looked at Kyle with his red eyes. Now I think you are something worse. You are beings who would rather die than let others suffer. Kyle smiled. Is that worse? For the galaxy's villains, yes. Very much worse. 3 days later, Kyle stood on the bridge of the Defiant as they prepared to leave the Rigel system. The pirate fleet had been captured. The civilian colonies were safe, and something new had begun. Captain, Amy reported, incoming transmission from the Galactic Council. Kyle had been expecting this. Put them through. The screen showed a collection of alien faces from different species. Kyle recognized Ambassador Keat Tile, the small green Rigelian who had been at the emergency meeting days earlier. Captain Martinez, the ambassador said, the Galactic Council has voted. We would like to invite Earth to join our organization as a full member. Kyle was stunned. That's quite an honor. The honor is ours. We have learned that humans are not the monsters we feared. You are protectors. The galaxy needs protectors. Later, as the Defiant headed home, Kyle sat in his ready room writing his report. How do you explain to Earth Defense Command that you accidentally became humanity's first galactic ambassador? Dr. Rachel Kim knocked on his door. Captain, you should see this. She handed him a tablet showing news feeds from across the galaxy. The story of the Battle of Rigel was spreading quickly. But it was not the story Kyle expected. Listen to this, Rachel said, reading from a Crytash news report. Human warship saves alien civilians. No territorial demands made. No payment requested. Species motivation unclear. Kyle laughed. They still don't understand us. Maybe that's good, Rachel replied. A little mystery never hurt anyone's reputation. Kyle looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was learning that humans were not the conquerors they had feared. They were something stranger, a species that fought for principles.